While the cook continues to put his cooking utensils in order, the other men stow their grub bags away. Also at this time, the cooking racks on the stoves are collapsed for the night. The section of the tent on which the cooking took place is zipped down. While two of the men relax, the cook and his assistant prepare to convert one of the stoves into a lantern. First, the entire cooking unit, which includes the rack and burner, are completely removed. This is done by loosening a small nut at the base of the burner with the combination tool and unscrewing the entire unit from the base of the stove itself. A special lantern attachment is now fitted to the base of the stove. Next, a mantle is tied to the lantern attachment. Care must be taken to burn the mantle thoroughly before the gas is turned on. Once the mantle has been burned, cautiously avoid any contact with it, as the slightest jar will cause it to crumble and fall apart. Always remember that in order to conserve the fuel, stoves and lanterns are to be used only when necessary. The patrol members now prepare themselves for the night. Sleeping bags are removed, and each man checks the smoothness of the snow under the tent floor. If there are any bumps, he pounds them down with his fists. Air mattresses are arranged in a row. The sleeping bags are unrolled, the outer bags serving as an additional mattress. The inner bag is grasped with both hands and shaken from the ends toward the middle to secure a maximum puff in the bag. This action is important because the thicker the puff, the warmer the bag. If the weather is extremely cold, the ski boots are taken into the sleeping bag to prevent them from freezing. For proper ventilation, a ski boot is wedged in the storm entrance. After the ski trooper gets into his sleeping bag, he places his rucksack under his feet for additional insulation against the snow. Parkas and outer pants are rolled and put under the camper's head to serve as a pillow. The trooper usually loosens his belt for comfort. Damp socks and inner soles may be placed on his belly for drying. The sleeping bag is then pulled over his shoulders, zipping it up from the inside. Before retiring, the patrol leader hangs a thermometer on the tent pole. At the present temperature of 20 degrees Fahrenheit, the men are adequately clothed and equipped to sleep comfortably in the inner bag only. However, as the temperature drops, it has a definite effect on sleeping comfort. As the temperature hits 10 degrees Fahrenheit, it is usually necessary to put on the toque to keep the head and ears warm. For more body warmth, the cold trooper pulls the outer bag over the inner bag. Later in the night, the temperature begins to drop from 10 degrees Fahrenheit down to 0, from 0 to 10 degrees below, to 20 degrees below, and finally to 30 below. The chill of the night awakens one of the troopers, who puts on an extra heavy sweater. Before going back to sleep, he draws the hood of the inner sleeping bag over his head pulls the drawstring of the outer bag around his neck and zips up the rest of the outer sleeping bag. In the morning, because of the cramped tent quarters, it is difficult for all members of the patrol to get up simultaneously. One man remains inside his sleeping bag while the other 3 troopers get the morning routine underway. The 2 center men with hips and legs still in their sleeping bags remove the rucksacks and zip back a segment of the tent floor for cooking. While one of the centermen is engaged in zipping back the floor, the other reconverts the lantern to a stove. He tightens the burner unit back on and hooks up the cooking rack. Notice the special container in which matches are kept. This container is waterproof, and heat will not cause the matches inside to spontaneously catch on fire. The stoves are lit, and the two other men start to get dressed. If boots have been left out of the sleeping bag, they are thawed over the stove. The laces are held in the hand to prevent them from burning. The cook unzips one of the tent sections and leans outside to dig up the pot of fruit and water from the grub hole. The grub bags and closely packed snow have kept the fruit insulated against the freezing cold. Now that the morning preparations are well underway, the fourth patrol member proceeds to get dressed. Before putting on his boots, the trooper inserts a pair of dry inner soles. One stove is used to heat a pan of water, while the other is used to remove the chill from the dried fruit, which was prepared the previous night. In the meantime, the other men roll up their sleeping bags and pack the equipment. In preparing a drink of hot chocolate, the cook mixes dry ingredients consisting of chocolate, powdered milk, and sugar, which he stirs into the boiling water. Next, he begins to prepare the cereal and puts the required amount of salt into the water. Repeating the same process as in making the chocolate, he mixes the dry ingredients of powdered milk, cereal, and sugar. This he also pours into a pot and stirs. Butter is added liberally to both the chocolate and the cereal. For both supper and breakfast, the high vitamin content of butter is advantageous to help sustain the trooper's strength. Carefully prepared and scientifically balanced meals provide the men with energy and vitality for the strenuous forenoon ahead. When breakfast is over, the pots and canteen cups are cleaned and the two stoves collapsed. Sleeping articles and other equipment are gathered together and repacked in the rucksacks. All this action is carried on inside the tent to fully utilize the shelter up to the final moment of departure, and so that dark objects are never exposed outside against the white snow. The men have completed their dressing and packing of the rucksacks inside the tent, so that when they do expose themselves and their equipment, the white outer coverings and protective shells help to conceal them from enemy observation. The packs are now passed outside the tent and set on the snow, and the men prepare to take down the tent. The tent sections are unzipped, and each man rolls his individual section to be stowed in the main compartment of his rucksack. Now the troopers adjust and fasten on their skis. And shoulder their rucksacks. They don their mittens and pull their parka hoods over their heads, adjust their sun goggles over their eyes, ready to start on another day's journey. It is a good idea to eat a bite every hour or so if you feel hungry, as this intake of food will help maintain your energy and strength. There are times when a patrol is out on its mission that the surrounding terrain does not offer proper protective features for a tent camp site. It then becomes necessary to select a bank of deep, well-packed snow and construct a snow cave. The troopers place their rucksacks on the side of the slope and set their skis in the snow directly below them. This prevents the rucksacks from sliding down the embankment. The patrol leader removes his entrenching tool and bayonet from the top of his rucksack. The bayonet is used to mark off the cave. The simplest method of digging a snow cave is to drive the entrenching tool around the marked line of the cave. Beginning at the bottom, snow blocks are cut away. The basic design of the snow cave is a straight hallway into the snowbank and two lateral hallways, one to the right and the other to the left. Each hallway is approximately 3 feet wide, 7 feet long, and 3.5 feet high. The snow blocks and loose snow are passed out of the cave by the digger to a second man. If one man tires digging, another relieves him. The troopers use their hands and cooking pots to drag the snow to the entrance. When these hallways are completed, the snow cave is ready to be occupied. Air mattresses are inflated and laid out, the sleeping bags prepared, and the rucksacks stacked against the wall. After all the equipment has been taken into the snow cave, the entrance is then closed with the previously cut snow blocks. This is to prevent any prevailing wind from sweeping inside the cave. Furthermore, this is to conceal the camp from chance enemy observation. The troopers can be safe, warm, and comfortable in this snow cave for several days. But wherever patrol members find it necessary to pitch their camp, they will be able to overcome the obstacles of nature if they make full use of their training and follow the rules of handling their clothing and equipment properly.